I got to say that we played with a lot of heart. I felt insulted the way the so-called experts talked about a sweep.
I don't think anybody can mentally or physically intimidate me.
They threw us to the floor about the first 2 or 3 times they got the opportunity, stood up over and said, we're going to smash you. Our guys think that they aren't good. They found out now how good they are.
We're going to have to turn it up. We're going to have to bang some people, throw them on the floor, do what we got to do.
Well, we expect an all-out war.
Welcome to the Delta Center, Game 2, Western Conference Finals, Houston, Utah, along with Dee Lynam and Reggie Theus. This is Bob Neal. The Utah Jazz, who played 82 hard games to develop the best record in the NBA and home court advantage throughout the NBA playoffs, blew it all by losing to Houston in Game 1. How big a deal is it that Utah is down 0-1 going in? Well, in 112 NBA first games, the loser has gone on to win the first round only 17 times out of 112. And Reggie, Game 2 is about adjustments. Utah, the team that's got to make the adjustments. What are they going to do?
Well, I tell you what, Karl Malone, last year's MVP, has to come out and have great energy. He has to set the tone because his troops follow his lead. Utah, not known for their great foot speed, they have to get back on defense. Transition defense was non-existent. And I tell you one other thing, last year, I mean, in the regular season, they were a +10 rebounding. In Game 1, Bob, they were a -4.
Wow. Now for Houston, probably not much adjustments. They just want to win again. Charles Barkley, people wondered if he would even play in the playoffs. He came out, not only did he contribute in the game, but he got involved with the fans, got fined $10,000 for that. So we wanted to check in on where Charles' mind is going into Game 2.
They're going to come out obviously like gangbusters tonight. And this is going to be a great test for us. Number one, mentally, because if we come here with attitude, the only team to get one, we're going to get blown out. I think if we can withstand that pressure the first half, they will start feeling pressure, but they have to win tonight.
The NBA playoffs on TNT, brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. By Ford, makers of vehicles that are built to last. By Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Life is a hunger for victory, a hunger to play. It doesn't have to be a question of thirst. Life is a sport. Drink it up. And by Nike.
Well, they're still partying here in Salt Lake City over their Utah Jazz, but it's a little more subdued coming into this game because this one is serious business for Utah if the first one wasn't. The Houston Rockets started with that lineup of Maloney, Drexler, Willis, Olajuwon, and Bullard. Starting Bullard so he can play Adam Keefe, and it frees up Mario Elie to come off the bench to play against the faster second unit of Utah, which is a significant factor in Game 1. We thought, or I thought, Reggie, there was going to be perhaps a change in the lineup here, but we'll have you talk about this in a moment. But they're staying with that starting lineup with Foster and Keefe up front. Let's go now to Dee Lynam.
With containing the likes of number 32 and number 12 and ignoring Section 8. It was this group of Jazz fans that assisted Charles Barkley in making his recent $10,000 donation to the NBA. In Game 1, Section 8 delivered only jeers to number 4. I think they might actually hear a few cheers tonight. Bob?
Thanks, Dee. World War II veterans will appreciate Section 8. Speaking of Section 8.
Ground zero over there.
Go Jazz, that's the man. He is. He said he was on local television, the Jazz man there. He's a local ticket broker, by the way, and a big, obviously, fan. He said, I never used profanity with Charles. Charles got in my face, and I simply said, from one ball guy to another, you're too old, you should retire. That wouldn't make Charlie.
Well, listen, sometimes if they're going to find the players for doing things, I think they have to make an adjustment with fans in the arenas that cause players problems also, even though they're paying money for their ticket.
Yeah, that's a good point, Reggie. There's two sides to it, and there's a great deal more security around that area here tonight. The officials tonight, Hugh Evans, Ronnie Nunn, and Ken Maurer. We're ready to get underway. Utah all of a sudden find themselves in a bind. They're down 0-1. Houston's aging veteran showed the heart of a champion and stole game 1 2 nights ago.
So much of this game start is about the energy level. And of course, John Stockton getting off to a good start is a great thing for the Utah Jazz.
John Stockton scored 12 points in game number 1. Had 8 assists, but certainly didn't get that pick and roll working as well as they had hoped. And an early whistle by Hugh Evans, and that foul is going to be on Greg Foster. And Reggie, we mentioned about that we thought Utah might change their starting lineup, but Jerry Sloan, no.
And listen, Jerry Sloan couldn't fix with lineup start what happened to Utah. It was all about energy and doing the right thing in the middle defensively.
Well, defensively this time, Utah playing so tough they're called for their first illegal defense of this ball game. Utah out to a 2-0 lead. We're in the first minute of the first quarter. Hope you enjoyed on TNT earlier tonight that Charlotte-Atlanta game. Charlotte takes a 2-0 lead in that series. Houston is 17 on the shot clock. Going into the post, coming back out. They went in to Willis, and now Malone, who's so adept at it, strips the ball loose. 11 on the shot clock for Houston.
And Bob, you can see that the Jazz defense is really waiting to bounce down on those low post guys.
Bullard's jump shot on the inbound pass, rebound Drexler. Rebounding was a big key. Drexler from the perimeter. That's a triple for Clyde Drexler. 3-2 Houston. Karl Malone off to a very slow start in game 1, but he did finish the game with 25 points and 11 boards. Stockton driving and kicking. Foster open for the jumper from 18. Those were the open shots Foster and others missed on the penetration by Utah in game 1. Maloney looking down to Olajuwon against Foster. Team. Bullard, excellent three-point shooter. Houston starting much like they started in game number 1. 2 triples already in the first minute and a half.
Well, because of the potential double teams, there's always a lot of spot-up shots, and these guys are very good, Bullard and Maloney, hitting the spot-up jumpers.
Stockton gets a big pick from Adam Keefe, leaving him alone for the jumper. Olajuwon with a rebound. Olajuwon had 16 and 13 in game number 1, along with 6 blocks and 5 assists. Posting Willis. He's got this jumper here he likes to take if Malone gives him any room. He didn't, so Willis drives. It's stripped. Different looking Karl Malone earlier.
You can't tell me, you can't tell there's a difference in the energy level of the Utah Jazz tonight starting this basketball game.
Houston was aware of it, as Charles Barkley said. We know how they're going to come out here, and we've got to play with that same intensity. Stockton slipped inside, but the defense recovered in time to get the block and the turnover. Maloney driving, dishing. Willis. Stockton runs down the tip. 6-4 Rockets. Ahead, Hornacek in the paint, dishing to Adam Keefe. Can't handle it. Saved it, though. Karl Malone missing. Rebounding Houston.
Again, Houston Rockets doing a great job in their own transition defense. Both teams running the floor, getting back.
Drexler misses the 3. We've got a loose ball foul. It's going to be on Kevin Willis.
Oh, yeah, we're seeing a different Utah Jazz energy level tonight starting off this basketball game. And as we talked about in the open, Karl Malone sets that pace already. A couple of steals, putting his body on people and getting after the rebounds.
Early shooting, both 2 of 5. The difference is the 2 for Houston are triples. Malone left alone for the jumper. He missed again. Stockton down hard. It's going to be against Houston. And already, look at this, Stockton and Maloney. Now Foster stepping in. The officials, a referee crew tonight who are veterans. Hugh Evans, Ronnie Nunn, Ken Maurer, calm it down before anything breaks out.
And Bob, when you look at this, there wasn't that much for Stockton. I think a little bit of a flop is in there. But certainly Malone and Stockton getting out, setting the tempo. All of a sudden Stockton is standing up to a 6'10" guy saying, "Get out my face."
That foul was on Maloney. Big pick from Malone. Stockton losing the handle. 13 on the shot clock for Johns. Pull-up jumper. Now he's going to bury those from the elbow at 16, 17 feet.
Olajuwon has to step up and get in John's face, make him turn the corner.
Maloney's penetration to Olajuwon. 8-6 Rockets. 8:21 to go. First period. Game 2. Houston with a 1-0 lead, surprising everybody in the NBA with the way they came out and dominated the game in nearly every phase on Thursday night.
Utah Jazz running an awful lot early in this game. The UCLA cut. They're trying to free up their big men, getting down in the post areas. John Stockton runs that UCLA cut as good as anyone in the league.
Ronnie Nunn with a call this time, and it's going to be on Clyde Drexler. Officiating and the foul calls are substantially increased in this game. Karl Malone shot only 5 free throw attempts in the entire game. Had none in the first half in game number 1. The whistle sounding more often, more frequently here in this first quarter. Stockton to Foster. Foster, who was missing from the perimeter in game 1, has 2 jump shots and is 2 for 2 here in this game. It's tied at 8. Maloney doesn't get the 3. Malone rebounding. Foster's alone again for that mid-range jumper. Not this time.
In the same spot, Foster couldn't put it down, but John Stockton is really aggressive offensively, and that's going to cause a lot of problems for Houston defensively.
4 shots already for Stockton. Olajuwon now with 4 points, and it's 10-8 Rockets.
Because, Bob, anytime Stockton is really aggressive, he's going to cause problems in the middle, and he's going to be looking to kick out to the open shooters.
Drexler on Hornacek. Another foul in the paint, holding on to Stockton. This is going to be on Hakeem Olajuwon, flirting with a technical. Crowd on their feet. Hold it. A technical on Rudy Tomjanovich. The foul was on Maloney, his second. And a technical on Rudy T. 14 fouls already for Houston.
Ronnie Nunn and Hugh Evans quickly in this game, Bob, taking control, stopping and cleaning up the action underneath the basket and not allowing the coach to really get up and say anything. We're only 4 minutes into the first quarter.
Let's take a look at it again. Watch Matt Maloney, number 12, in the paint.
Matt Maloney in the paint right there, getting after it. Pushing right after the play, and they had locked up, gave that little bit of an extra push, and that's what the referee called.
Maloney goes to the bench. Brent Price, who had 4 threes and 2 assists in his first ever NBA playoff game, and now he's defending John Stockton. Hornacek off the screen, gets inside Drexler from 18, and that's the 4th lead change of this ball game. 11-10 Jazz. Olajuwon defended by Foster. Shake and bake move inside. The dream shake, as they like to call it. Nothing coming out of it that time, though. 12 on the shot clock. Malone's turnaround. That's his bread and butter. So I guess he had the bread and no butter. Price driving. Offensive foul.
Oh, that's great footwork by a big man, Karl Malone. Price giving a little bit of a shake, but Malone, watch his footwork down here low. Check him out, slide, take the contact, and slide back. Nice play.
3 Houston turnovers early. Stockton's active early, 4 points, 3 assists.
And Bob, when he's active, this is what happens. Look at this, freeze it, guys. Look at, he draws 3 guys to the middle, and John Stockton always able to kick it out to open people. Foster finding the thread.
Karl Malone yet to score. He's 0 for 3. The rest of the Jazz team, however, 5 out of 8 early on. Foster driving. He has 6. 13-10 Jazz. I told you there have been 4 lead changes. There were only 2 lead changes in the entire game in game number 1.
Tough change of direction. Clyde Drexler really got caught from a good defensive play, but when he put it behind his back, the defense was totally stunned and had to do what they did and just foul.
That's the second team foul. That was on Adam Keefe. Second team foul on Utah. The next Houston foul, as Drexler hits the jumper, the next Houston foul will put the Jazz at the line. Brent Price defending Stockton. Bullard on Adam Keefe. Stockton got open thanks to a pick by Foster. Fouled before the shot, but that is team foul number 5. It's called on Brent Price, and Stockton will go to the free throw line where he is an 83% shooter.
Well, I'll tell you something that's happened tonight that didn't happen in game 1. Right there, you see a little contact, and I'm telling you, Utah Jazz are setting some serious picks tonight, and that is getting guys open right there. Price was banged and still hadn't recovered from the pick that was set on him a couple steps earlier.
And Utah, of course, is noted for the powerful picks they set, not just their big guys either. However, you commented you only saw a couple of those in game 1.
And Bob, that is what gets this team going. Jerry Sloan said it. Execution, picks, and tough defense. That's what gets them into their element of playing the great basketball.
Well, the Rockets aren't going anywhere. It's 14-12, and that reverse on the assist to Drexler by Brent Price ties it at 14.
Just a great, one of the best plays in basketball. Simple, give and go. I give it to you, you give it back.
Yet another Houston foul down on the baseline as they were trying to free up a player on the baseline for John Stockton, who will go to the bench here at the 5-minute mark, and we'll get Howard Isley into the game. Also, Mario Ellie has entered the game. Drexler is flirting with a technical right now.
Well, he's really upset about the body and the beat that's being thrown around. In the first game, it was a lot of that going Houston's way. Look at the bench production.
Hold it, there's a technical. It's going to be on Clyde Drexler. We knew that was coming. Ronnie Nunn was the man who was involved in the discussion.
Not a bad thing. Technical being thrown on Clyde because he's got to let the refs know what's going on down on the baseline. There's a lot of blows and a lot of picks being set hard down in the underneath the basket.
Talking to Ken Maurer. Backing away now. The free throw being shot. It's good by Hornacek.
It's not a bad thing, Bob, for a veteran guy like Clyde Drexler to let the referees know early in the game what's going on.
Yeah, there are 2 fouls each on Price and Maloney, and now 2 on Drexler. 15-14 Jazz. This is also a very different tenor to the game. Very few fouls. I think it was Houston 5 out of 6, and Utah 3 out of 4 from the free throw line in the entire first half.
Well, that's because we only had one aggressive team in game 1, and that was the Houston Rockets.
Well, they haven't lost their aggression, that's for sure. Malone hits the free throw. Check this graph.
Yeah.
10 points, only 3 rebounds in the first half of game 1. He did come back strong with 15 and 8 in the second half, but it was definitely too little too late.
Well, the man averages 10 attempts during the regular season and only got 5 in game 1.
Jazz by a couple of points. 5:07 to go, first period. Mario Ellie, Eddie Johnson, down to Olajuwon, posted deep. He's going to score. You have to foul him down there once he gets that kind of entry pass. Olajuwon was kind of quiet in the early going of the ball game, also in game number 1, but he turned out to have a whale of a night with 6 blocks, 5 assists, 16 points, and 13 rebounds.
Total team effort by the Houston Rockets. Willis starting the action off early with his effort. Olajuwon, 5 blocks in the second half. 5 assists also to go along with that, and then Charles Barkley adding his action in the second half really sustained that, because you have to remember in the 4 games during the regular season, Bob, they were up in the 4th quarter in those games and fell in the end.
Barkley, by the way, who came in and was very productive in the second half, said he's feeling really good. He was out playing one-on-one before the game. He'll be in shortly. Brian Russell goes to the hoop hard and draws yet another Houston foul. This time it's going to be on Eddie Johnson. Eddie Johnson, when questioned, he's 39 years old, questioned whether this will be his last year. He says, hey, I take 1 year at a time at my age.
Listen, as long as he can hit a jumper behind the 3, he's not going nowhere.
Eddie Johnson in his 16th year. Remember his great years at the University of Illinois. Brian Russell started the season very poorly, started as a starter, couldn't play very well, didn't do a lot of things, asked to go to the bench, and he's now part of this second unit that has become so very effective for Utah. Isley, Shandon Anderson, and Russell. Isley and Russell on the floor. Anderson not yet in. Here's the three. Price. Not this time. Tip. Nice play by Eddie Johnson. Loose ball picked up, however, by the Utah Jazz, Jeff Hornacek.
Look at the aggressive hands of Utah tonight. Unbelievable. That's the third rake they've had without a foul being called.
Moments before Barkley enters the game, you hear the boos already as he takes off his warm-up. 7 on the shot clock for Utah.
They're not doing anything to get him fired up by doing that.
Isley from 18. Rebound Willis. Third rebound of this ball game for Kevin Willis. Kevin had 14 in game number 1. From the corner, Ellie misses. Willis rebounds. Houston out rebounding Utah 11-4 early on. That was one of the keys to the Houston win early. It's tied at 17. Malone. First field goal of the night with 3:40 to go in period number 1. Timeout, Houston.
First field goal, but definitely a better effort offensively and defensively, just with energy level alone.
2-point lead. Jazz 19, Rockets 17. And here's Carl's first, let's call that a 17-footer.
If fans curse at me, I'm going to curse them back. Plain and simple, not even worth discussing. If a person curses at me, I'm going to curse them back. NBA can have all my money, but I'm not going to let anybody take my pride. If somebody curses at me, I'm going to curse them back.
Well, that's simple. You see the fans there. Is it Barkley or Broccoli? Who cares? They both stink. Charles usually thrives in terms of his game on that kind of thing. The NBA took $10,000 of his money. You see what he got though in game 1. 12 points, 6 out of 10. And post-game, he came out here in front of the Utah fans after they had won, practiced free throw, and took laps.
Well, he told me after the game also that those are things that he has to do. He needs it. He's feeling good. And you're right, Bob. Those are the things, fans, signs, all the interaction, that gets him fired up and turned on about basketball. Great players always looking for a way to get the edge.
Worth the price of admission. 14 seconds on the shot clock for Houston. Trailing by 2. Barkley. Offensive foul as he pushed Karl Malone out of the way.
These two guys have always done that to each other. I've seen it go both ways. Right here, Karl's bodying hard and giving. Now, Charles says, get off me, give him a nudge, and you know the referee is looking at that.
Now Malone at Barkley. Barkley steals the ball. This could be a great battle between two of the best power forwards in the history of the game.
And both of them, great hands in raking balls away from each other.
Ostertag also in. Barkley shoots it over the 7-2 Ostertag. Too high, too much. Rebound Malone. Ostertag, Isley, Hornacek, Russell, Malone on the floor for the Utah Jazz, leading by 2. 2:55 to go in the first period. Game 2, Western Conference playoffs. Houston stole game 1 here at the Delta Center.
Well,
Shot clock to 6.
Isley coming in this game has to have a big night. It gives them a great depth and another look. Last night only 2 points when he averages about 7 a game.
Willis open for that jumper. Not as hot as he was in the first half, where he had 17 points. In game 1, Malone on the break from Hornacek.
That is a great look by Jeff Hornacek. Karl Malone didn't even have to know it was coming. Jeff just lobbed it up there softly and let Karl run under. Great play.
This is the biggest lead now. Jazz by 4. Biggest lead for either team. 2:12 to go first period. Willis yet to get off in this game here tonight. Here's that open 3. Brent Price. Not tonight. He had 4 in game 1. Going to be a foul on Houston. Ken Maurer with the whistle. If there's such a thing, that could have been a good one, though. It would have been a breakaway.
Karl Malone doing a great job starting this thing off. But watch Jeff's eyes. He's just barely looking at Karl. Charles Barkley never turned his head, never knew it was coming until it was too late.
That's the 10th foul called on Houston in this first period. There have only been 3 whistles against the Utah Jazz with 2:02 remaining in quarter number 1.
Now remember, Bob, in game 1, Utah didn't get their first fast break basket until almost the end of the second quarter.
Total numbers there were 19-5 in fast break points for that whole ball game in favor of Houston. Utah's free throw numbers are worse than they were early going here in game. They shot 63%. Remember, they led the league in free throw shooting at 77. Here, they are 5 out of 10, 50% in this first quarter.
Wow. It changed things dramatically.
Barkley singled out against Malone. Going to work on it down there. Over Malone. Rebound, Greg Ostertag. 4-point Jazz lead. Minute 45 to go in the period.
Early in this game,
Hornacek unmolested to the hoop. Beat Ellie off the dribble. No help was coming. Timeout, Houston.
great effort by Jeff Hornacek. Houston Rockets playing a lot of one-on-one basketball, Bob, not what they started off in game 1.
Utah on a 6-0 run. They have built the biggest lead by either team in this first period, 23-17, with a minute 39 to go in period number 1. Rockets scored 27 points in the first quarter on Thursday night, and Utah 24, to give you a comparison. Here's Hornacek.
Really nice crossover and nobody in the back line. Kevin Willis just doing the MP, directing traffic to the basket.
Playoffs continue tomorrow on Turner Sports. Tune in tomorrow to TNT at 8:30 p.m. for the NBA pregame show, playoff pregame show, followed by Game 2 of the Wolves and Sonics at 9 Eastern Time. And Inside the NBA, following all our broadcasts during our plethora of playoff performances.
Utah on a 6-0 run in the last 2 minutes. Certainly a different atmosphere tonight in this game. Crowd is into the game, and so are the Jazz.
Houston's bench scored 41 points in game 1, only 1 for 6 here tonight. Ellie on the drive. That's an offensive foul. Now, wait a minute. Jerry Sloan went wacky, and they're going to change the call. Hugh Evans overruled the call by Ronnie Nunn. It has to do with that dotted line circle, and the foul is going to be against Utah.
And a very good call, because Ronnie Nunn was on the far side. Hugh Evans was on the strong side. Right there you see that Hornacek was still moving as the contact occurred.
I think he may have been inside that dotted line too. Whatever the case is, the foul's on Hornacek, and Ellie will shoot the free throw. Mario Ellie, an 83% free throw shooter.
Now I think, Bob, in the big scheme of things, only on a fast break where there's a guy trying to take a charge, I think that dotted line comes into play. If there's a blocking foul, it can go all the way under the basket.
Good point. Mario Ellie gets them both. That's only the third and fourth free throws by Houston. There have been 10 free throws by Utah in this first period. It's a 4-point Jazz lead. Hornacek on the drive. Ostertag got the miss, then stripped out of his hands, and here comes Charles Barkley. Wanting it. You could see it all the way. Not getting it, however. Hornacek.
Houston Rockets playing well, Bob, but I don't see nearly the ball movement that they had in game 1.
And they're missing a lot of good open looks at the basket. Malone tried to make the pass inside. There's going to be yet another Houston personal foul.
Bob, in game 1, they had open looks in many occasions and passed it to the next guy. That got everybody into the continuity of the offense. Right now, playing a little bit too much one-on-one basketball. Mario
Ellie picked up his second personal foul. Isley goes to the free throw line. Under a minute to go, first quarter. 24-19 Jazz. Antoine Carr into the lineup. Carl Malone will sit down these final 59.1 seconds of period number 1. Stockton also on the bench. Isley's numbers in game 1, a big disappointment because he has had a great year as backup point guard. Houston, 5 straight missed field goals. credit a lot of Utah defense to that. But they've had some good open looks, too.
Very good open looks.
Fairness. Loose ball. Utah comes away with it. That's intense swarming defense. Hornacek. That brought them to their feet. Ronnie Nunn stopping play. 27-19.
Howard Isley finding the open man. Jeff feeling good tonight, driving to the bucket and then opening his game up from long range.
Fast break points. How about this? Utah 7, Houston none.
Flip-flop.
It was 13-2 toward the end of the first half.
Absolutely.
Game number 1. 16. That'll be a new 24-second shot clock. 26 to go in the quarter. 24 on the shot clock. 27-19 Jazz. Eddie Johnson hasn't gotten a look at the basket yet. See if he gets one here in this final possession.
And the Houston Rockets, because of their one-on-one basketball and taking a lot of long shots, they're 7 for 18, shooting 39% in this first quarter.
Price off the pick set by Barkley. Kick to Bullard, stolen by Isley. Foul on Bullard. Different Jazz team.
And that is one of the reasons why Jerry Sloan didn't make any lineup changes, because the one thing that he couldn't correct with the lineup change was their effort starting in the ball game. Probably a good Stern talking to in the way Jerry knows how to talk to his players in the locker room changed all that. He's a great psychologist and really one of the best in the business offensively and defensively.
Look at that. He's down there talking to him right now, including Karl Malone. You see the look on Karl's face. Just in this final minute of the first period, it's 28-19.
I remember joking with Jerry last game, talking about when I played for him, everything he did, nothing really worked. I said, it's nice, Coach, to see all the things you tried to teach me work for the Utah Jazz, because they didn't work with us.
That was a long time ago in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Brett Price. Bullard. That's the end of the period. It was tied at 17 at 4-minute mark of the first period. Since then, it was 12-2. Utah leading 29-19 after the first quarter.
Welcome back to the Delta Center. We're sitting now with Kay Malone, wife of Karl Malone. And Kay, I said I had to come visit you right away because I won't see you here in the second half. Why is that?
Well, it's kind of a superstition. It's just mostly like if they're down, then everybody around me here always tells me to go down, because when I go down, they win. So you won't see me after halftime.
And they're enjoying a nice 10-point lead right now. Bob, Reggie, back to you guys.
Thanks, Dee.
Everybody gets into the act. And believe me, players' superstition, they work, and they're for real. Don't let anybody kid you.
I wouldn't let you kid.
No. Listen, I knew if I didn't have pancakes, I was done for the night.
Pancakes. You're a health food nut now. Looking into Olajuwon. Good point. Olajuwon against Ostertag. Ball strip, foul on Utah. It's on Howard Isley. Almost a reverse of the scores. Certainly a reverse in the way the game went from game 1. The score at the end of one period in game 1 was 27-24 Rockets. The score at the end of game 1 here, 29-19 Jazz. Free throws have made a great deal of difference in the first half. Plus, it has been now about 5 minutes, nearly 5 minutes, since Houston has had a field goal. The only field goal was a Willis layup about 5 minutes ago. Houston shooting only 37, now 35%. Plus Houston has 7 turnovers to Utah's 2. Very clear story of the game. Antoine Carr missing, Ostertag putting it back. That's what Utah will have to have if they are in fact going to make the run for an NBA championship.
In the regular season, they were +10 rebounding. That's the way they have to do it. Offensive rebounding. Ostertag.
Olajuwon looking for something. Lost it again. Interior defense is dominating. Isley pass Price. Rebound Barkley. 14-2 run here for Utah.
Good transition defense that time for the Houston Rockets.
31-19 Jazz, biggest lead of the game. Houston looking for threes, finding it. That's a 2, however, as Eddie Johnson stepped on the line. That's his first open look at the basket, and he's played about 5 or 6 minutes on the floor, Eddie Johnson. Jazz by 10. Isley off the pick from Carr. Ostertag got his 7-2 frame up there and he got the rebound. That's his 3rd board in limited minutes off the bench.
And 2 offensive. That gives him another look.
Shot clock at 10. Working that pick and roll. Both Brent Price went down, left Isley open. Isley misses the jumper. Now Drexler back in the game and on the run, fouled by Isley.
Not a bad foul by Isley because it's very difficult to stop Clyde Drexler. He's got his head down. He looks like he's not paying attention. All he can is just stabbing the ball, but he really is on top of things when he's dribbling up court.
That's the 3rd on Isley, and Stockton's going to, and is back in the game. Shandon Anderson also with his first appearance of the night for the Utah Jazz. Shandon wears number 40. Drexler's turnaround jumper. Rebound Ostertag. That's 4 boards for Ostertag. 10 minutes to go in the half. Utah by 10. It's what most people expected the first half of game 1 to be. It was just about the reverse. Stockton kicks to the corner. Shandon Anderson. Anderson, the second-year, 25-year-old from the University of Georgia. Shot 54% from the field in the regular season. 12-point Jazz lead. Olajuwon, they just triple-teamed him there, and Shandon Anderson nearly had the steal. 11 on the shot clock for Houston. Timeout. Shandon Anderson, just with a couple of minutes of playing time here. He was the last substitute to enter the game. Gets an open look.
Ernie Johnson in Atlanta earlier tonight on TNT. Charlotte got 25 from Anthony Mason, beat the Hawks 92-85. After being swept by Atlanta in the regular season, the Hornets can now sweep the playoffs. Here's Dave Cowens.
You know, we're just turning a lot of doubters into believers, and that's what we're trying to do here. And I hope, and the crowd was just tremendous for us. I mean, they really did a great job for us tonight.
Hornets up 2-0. Game 3 Tuesday night on TNT. The winner of that series meets Chicago or New Jersey. Game 2 of that series tomorrow on NBC. Back to the Delta Center. Bob and Ray.
Thank you very much, Ernie. 33-21 here, 9:30 to go in the first half of play. The Rockets able to score only 21 points so far. By the way, Houston trailed by just 2 when Barkley came in. They're now down 12, and Charles is 0 for 3. Charles on the bench now. Ball loose on the floor again. We're going to have a jump ball. That's just typical of the defense that's been played by Utah in this first half of play. It has been an amazing difference, Reggie.
I tell you what, Karl Malone, we didn't see it in game 1, but tonight has come out and set the tone. Look at the footwork, the effort, and his troops are falling in line. They're playing ball all over the place. Floor Burns scraping it down.
Drexler wins the tip. Eddie Johnson. Barkley! That's as high as I have seen Charlie jump since maybe 86.
I'm going to do that. I haven't seen that since Auburn.
That's the round mound of rebound there. Woo, that was something. I'm stunned. Watch this. Thank goodness for replay.
I'm going to look real close. I think maybe he climbed somebody's back because Charlie getting up. He was elbow high over the rim, Bob.
6'4½".
Oh, my.
What sports hernia? You know, there's a Houston columnist said he was faking it the whole thing so he could get 2 weeks rest and then kind of lull Utah into expecting not to be able to play. Don't know if that's true, but knowing Charles, he would attempt anything. That was spectacular. 10-point Jazz lead. Stockton, when he went to the bench, is handling the ball now. The Utah run that got them out to their big lead occurred with Stockton on the bench. Isley with 3 fouls went back to the bench, and John's back in. 4 on the shot clock. 3-second violation. Ten-point Jazz lead, 8:28 to go, first half. if you're Houston, you have to be thinking, we have not played well. We certainly haven't shot well, and we're down 10, turned it over 7 times. Still in this thing very deeply.
Absolutely. And weathering a pretty solid start by the Utah Jazz, only down by 10, still very much in contact with this basketball game.
Barkley against Antoine Carr, 7 on the shot clock. Fadeaway. Got the foul first. Charles will go to the line. That's on Antoine. Carr had himself a nice effort off the bench in only 14 minutes, had 9 points and 3 rebounds, and in the second half, in that third period particularly, Carr was the only offense that Utah could find in game 1. Harry's numbers. That's the 4th team foul this period on Utah. Houston has yet to commit a foul. That's a flip-flop from quarter number 1.
Absolutely. Very different basketball game tonight from a lot of respects.
Barkley, who came out to practice free throws, you hear the jeers in the face of these fans here at the Delta Center, misses his first one here tonight. He said he was very disappointed in his free throw shooting in game number 1.
And he really did spend about 15-20 minutes shooting free throws. And it's a tough situation because they still had about 100 fans around booing him on his free throws.
I wish he could play longer than he's going to be able to play. I mean, the truth is he is getting older. But Charles, 35 in his 14th year. He says he'll be back next year. Well, near steal. Malone. Shandon Anderson missed the tip. Out of bounds. Houston ball. Down 9. Houston with a mini run here.
Great second effort by Shandon Anderson trying to get that tip back in there.
I like the headline of one of the Houston papers that said, Utah, Houston, you have a problem. Took me back to the moonshot days. Apollo 13. Maloney missing. Utah ball. 7:36 to go first half. Houston's shooting has definitely deteriorated here, and Houston now shooting 36%. There are the numbers for the quarter.
And a lot of that you have to give credit to Utah for because they're chasing a lot harder. And in game 1, that exact play on 3 occasions in the first half, Stockton to the corner was missed. Tonight they banged it 3 times already.
Olajuwon has been stifled in this first half. Maloney faked the pass, took the 3. Eddie Johnson upset because he wanted that shot. Maloney took it anyway. Wanted a foul, didn't get it. Went over the backboard. Utah ball.
And again, the effort defensively, you saw on Maloney's jump shot, John Stockton came from quite a ways to challenge him. John Stockton giving help down low. Look at the fake. And on the pass, watch Stockton's effort going out to Maloney. That is hustle.
Probably a good decision by Maloney on that replay. You saw the defender was going to be in the face of Eddie Johnson. Drexler got the steal. The foul's going to be on John Stockton. That's his first. And we've got a timeout on the floor with 6:50 to go in the first half. The Rockets have pulled to within 9. (35-24) Utah. Houston trying to get back into the game. Just a time to remind you here, tomorrow at 6:30. This is an unsolicited testimonial. This is an outstanding original movie. TNT, the day Lincoln was shot. Rob Morrow is the star. Do well to catch that. 35, that's my Siskel Ebert thing. Neil Theus, Siskel Ebert.
You're just a company man.
You thought I am. I'm naked in my, I'm not naked, thank goodness, in my admission to being a company man. Drexler's first game, 22-3-6. Drexler has been quiet in this game, however. 6 points, 3 rebounds.
Houston so far in this basketball game started the game off 2 for 2 from the 3-point line. Since then has gone 0 for 7, shooting 22% from out there.
Stockton off that pick and roll with a penetration. He's going to shoot the floater. Got his own rebound and putback. That's because Olajuwon was definitely tied up by Antoine Carr. It was Utah begging for foul calls. in game number 1. Now it's Houston here in game 2.
Yeah, I thought in game 1 we were going to have to go over there and take a baby rattle over to the to the Utah Jazz bench.
Well, that's what Jerry Sloan said too. He says we spent more time, our players spent more time whining about calls we didn't play.
He says, listen, get a towel and wrap it around your neck and cry in the towel, but don't cry to the referees.
Olajuwon really does not look like himself tonight. You could see on that free throw he barely bent his knees. Now remember, his left knee is the one he had the surgery on. The right knee had swollen in the last week of the regular season because, said the Dream, I had been favoring my left knee so much. So he's got swelling in both knees. Rudy Tomjanovich said he seemed to be fine, however, after game number 1, but he does look a little bit stiffer than usual.
And he has to be in the worst game shape of his career at this point of the season.
95 when they won the title. He was not only, I think, the best NBA player in the NBA that year, but he was one of the best conditioned. Shandon Anderson from the corner. Olajuwon gets the rebound. That's 5 boards for the Dream.
Well, they depend on Dream for so many things, Bob, offensively and defensively.
Ostertag's been pounding on him down there. He's going to try that turnaround jumper. First time we've seen that tonight, and that is a major part of his arsenal.
Well, I tell you what, if you had to give him a shot, though, that's the shot you want him to take. First of all, it keeps him off the offensive boards and gives your team a better opportunity to rebound.
Jazz by 8, 5:44 to go in the first half. Ostertag with the offensive tip miss. Drexler, I thought he was going to take it to the hole there. Instead, gives it up to Charles. Drexler, Barkley, Olajuwon, 3 future Hall of Famers on the floor right now for Houston. Drexler. Russell with a rebound. Jazz by 8. 5:19 to go in the half. Very quickly down court to Malone underneath. Too far underneath. Maloney with a rebound to Barkley. Barkley against Ostertag to Drexler. And how about Shandon Anderson? Nice defensive play, but he's called for the foul.
Great hustle by Shandon Anderson. On the break, they had a sure basket, probably a foul. But look at the effort. Running the floor, second effort, running from behind Clyde, really fending off an obvious bucket. And with a man in front of him, he could have taken Clyde out as hard as he wanted to and never would have got a flagrant on that one because it was not a clear path to the basket.
Drexler hits the free throw. Jeff Hornacek coming back into the game. Clyde Drexler is going to retire at the end of the year to take over as head coach at his alma mater, the University of Houston. 10-time All-Star, 5th in active scoring, 22,195 points, 4th all-time in steals. I could go on and on. What a great career at Portland and then at Houston for Clyde the Glock.
And one of the nicest guys in the league.
6-0 run now by Houston. They pulled it within 6. That's open. They left it open. Houston did in the first game, and Utah missed that shot from the corner. Here, Shandon Anderson has hit a couple.
And they're making sure that Stockton can't turn that corner. They're running that defense an awful long way to try to stop that pick and roll.
Olajuwon tried to spin to the basket, lost it. Bad pass from Shandon Anderson. Then he commits the foul. Anderson tried to give that ball to the big man too low, Karl Malone, who couldn't handle it. Anderson is part of the active second unit, though. He and Brian Russell and Howard Isley can really get them running, as you saw. Jazz by 9, 4:35 to go in the half. How about this? The Rockets have committed no team fouls this half. Utah's already independent this quarter, I should say. No team fouls by Houston with 4:35 to go in the second period.
That's not a bad thing, Bob, especially when you think about how lackadaisical the Jazz came out in game 1 tonight. Totally different, and when you're that aggressive, you're going to have more fouls. Right now, in the quarter, Houston 6 for 9. Utah 0.
How about that?
That's tremendous.
And with that free throw, it's 7 for 10. 8-point Jazz lead. 4:28 to go, first half. Bad pass by Malone, nearly stolen by Drexler. Deflected into the hands of Hornacek. Drexler in his face. Hornacek shooting it anyway. Rebound, Kevin Willis. That's his 6th board. Kevin's been quiet compared to game 1 here in this first half. He's going to take Ostertag to the hoop. It's stripped again. Utah is known for their ability, particularly Karl Malone, known for their ability to strip the ball on drives to the basket. We've really seen a plethora tonight.
But right now, they're just converging down in the middle, 3 and 4 guys at a time to stop anything happening from the Rockets driving to the bucket.
How about that Houston shooting 35%. Kevin Willis gets that perimeter shot to go down, and that's his first perimeter basket. He had a lay-in early in the ball game. It's a 6-point Jazz lead. Offensive foul. Called by Hugh Evans. Charles Barkley with great and very vocal approval.
A very tough situation. Anytime they run that UCLA cut off of Karl Malone, Maloney has to go through an enormous pick. And if he's a little bit late, Stockton gets a layup under the basket.
Foul called on Malone, his first. 6-point Jazz lead. Houston making a comeback here in second period. Kevin Willis tried the jump hook, fouled by the 7-2 Ostertag.
And what I liked about that, Bob, was the fact that Kevin Willis went into Ostertag's body first, got the contact, and then went through him to get the foul. Watch this really quick. He's going to bump his body into him, then go up through his arms. That is a planned foul. He knows that he has that situation.
Kevin Willis, 13 years, 36 years old. Here are the games by the half in games 1 and 2.
And what you notice right there is Willis really carried them in the first half. And then, of course, Barkley and Olajuwon picking it up for the Rockets in the second half and finishing the game out. What I like most in that is the fact that Olajuwon didn't have a great game, but he got those 5 blocks and the majority of them in the second half.
Hakeem on the bench right now. Olajuwon with 8 points and 5 boards. Drexler got his hip out there to really bump Karl Malone. Nothing coming easy tonight. Man's basketball. That's 3 fouls on Clyde. He also carrying a technical.
Bob, I got to tell you, there are so many times that players do some serious acting out there. Many times, Karl Malone would run right through that pick, but he knows the referees are on it. They're on top of it, and right now, I thought he really flopped quite nicely.
Well, I've given Drexler the credit of an offensive lineman. Stockton from the corner.
And then when you look at it, as poorly as Houston's playing, they're only down 4. If they go into halftime with this type of effort, they've got to be feeling pretty good about themselves.
Houston on a 10-3 run the last 3.5 minutes. Willis working on Foster, who just came into the game. Here's Ellie. That's a big 3. It is now a 1-point Jazz lead.
And what I like about that is it was off of a swing, a pass out, and then a kick over.
Malone's turnaround jumper, rebound Ellie. Rockets have a chance to claim the lead. 2:33 to go in the half. Malone started 0 for 3, then 2-2. Now he is 0 for 4. He's been streaky tonight. Talking about Karl. Into Kevin Willis working on Foster. Malone can't hold it, but saves it back inbounds to Jeff Hornacek. Jazz by a point. Hornacek kicks to Foster. He hit some perimeter shots in the opening moments of the game, 2 in a row, as a matter of fact. 2 minutes to go, first half. Karl Malone, I told you, started 0 for 3, then went 2 out of 2, then 0 out of 4. So if this pattern is going to be history of any kind of lesson, Karl will now go on a streak there. So let's see if Kay Malone sticks around for the second half. She told D she might not.
The NBA playoffs on TNT, brought to you by your local AutoZone stores. For the right parts at the right price, look no further than AutoZone. And by Lexus. The future of Lexus is here. Fasten your seatbelts.
It's a 3-point Jazz lead. 2 minutes, 1 second remaining in the first half. We'll continue NBA action tomorrow on Turner Sports. Pre-game show at 8:30 Eastern Time. Then the Wolves and the Sonics at 9 Eastern Time, followed by Inside the NBA. How about this shooting percentage? Utah in this quarter, 29%, 6 of 21 from the floor, and no free throw attempts.
No free throw attempts, and they've committed 10 on their own in this quarter. Houston only 1.
Inside to Willis, stripped beautifully by Stockton. Kevin went to the jump hook and missed it. Credit that play to John Stockton.
But I still think that even though they're fouling quite a bit more, that their effort and their intensity level will help them in the latter part of this basketball game.
Stockton falls, passes, another assist as he gets floor burn, and Shandon Anderson builds the lead for the Jazz now. Back to 5. That's 7 assists for John in this first half. Still posting Kevin Willis, despite the fact he's not shooting well this first period, or this first half. Foster in the air. Missed the layup. Oh. Looking for Malone. Posted deep. Barkley blocked it, but fouled him. Look at the crowd. The crowd. This is about as much noise as we've heard from this crowd. They just love to talk to Charles.
And they're getting into it. Charles, I thought, playing pretty good defense, but he allowed Carl to get too far in there. And if you notice Carl's body language, how deep he was into Barkley's stomach with his body, that is why he had to reach so far to foul him. It's not body contact up high, it's the body contact from the chest to the stomach. That's where the referee called the foul.
Karl Malone is 2 out of 3 from the free throw line, only 3 of 10 from the field. He does have 6 rebounds in this first half. Karl Malone, certainly a future Hall of Famer himself. One of only 5 players in the history of the league to score 27,000 points and get 11,000 rebounds. The others, Kareem, Wilt, the Big E, Elvin Hayes, and Moses Malone. What company? Utah on a 6-0 run since it was 40-39. Minute to go in the half. Willis alone, but Malone recovered because Ellie didn't get it to him in time. Illegal defense. Call against the Jazz. That's the second. This will be a free throw. Coming up on the Nike halftime report, Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, and Brian Hill recap all of today's playoff action. Cleveland, Indiana, Atlanta, Charlotte, San Antonio, Phoenix. Eddie Johnson will shoot the free throw. He's an 83% free throw shooter. And then Houston will get the ball back. Trailing now by 6 with this possession, could cut the lead to 4. Biggest lead in this ball game has been 12 by Utah, down to 4. They led 33-21. 42 seconds in the half.
2-for-1 situation here if they shoot the ball before 34 seconds.
Willis working inside. Well, that interior defense has been incredible, but that time Kevin Willis used his not inconsiderable strength to hold on to that ball.
But the defense stopped him. He made a great offensive adjustment to get the ball and shoot it where he did.
Foster working hard on the offensive boards, draws the foul.
Foster working it, had a very nice first quarter. Coming out here in the second quarter, working the boards, getting underneath. Offensive rebounds for the Utah Jazz are really helping them out right now. Utah 7 offensive boards, Houston only 3. One of the key areas that Rudy said that we have to have control of is that offensive rebounding. You cannot give the Utah Jazz, with their ability to run offense and really stick to their game plan, a second opportunity to score.
Rudy T, what a great job he did preparing his team for game 1, and the compliments for his preparation came from the players, from Barkley. Charles Barkley had a funny line about Rudy T. He says, a lot of coaches in the league, and we know who they are, want $300 a day meal money. Rudy T just wants to coach. From the mouth of Barkley.
But I guess he wouldn't turn it down if it was offered to him, huh?
7 seconds in the period. Maloney all the way to the hoop. There's time. No time for the shot. No time for the shot. Jazz lead it by 5 at the half. Utah had led by 12. Houston made a bit of a mini run there in the second period and have made it anybody's game at 47-42 at the half. In just a minute, Rudy Tomjanovich is still on the court, still talking to Hugh Evans. Let's stay with this. Let's stay with it.
Bob, he is really getting after Hugh because that last drive by Maloney, really, there was quite a bit of contact underneath the basket. Watch Maloney drive to the bucket off of a couple of nice little stutter steps and a spin, and then the contact right around the basket area, right there. Look at that.
Yeah,
that's what.
hard.
And many times in the closing of a half, a closing of a quarter, referees will not give you anything.
Good call, Reggie. That's exactly what Rudy T was saying. Larry Smith there on the left is the man who is defending Rudy from picking up a tee. Right after this commercial timeout, we'll go to our studios in Atlanta for Nike halftime report.
Well, after losing game 1 by 13, the Utah Jazz at home, leading at the break 47-42. The mailman has 9 points. Utah trying to even the series at a game apiece. We welcome you to our Atlanta studio. Ernie Johnson along with Kenny Smith and Brian Hill, the head coach of the Vancouver Grizzlies. We welcome you to the Nike halftime report. Coach, a little more inspired effort from the Jazz this time around, I'd say.
Yeah, I think it jumps out at you right away that they're really forcing the action in this game. And I think at the offensive end of the floor, you see that they're really pushing the ball more. Here, Jeff Hornacek getting out on the break. They all know that Karl Malone is always running the floor, always filling that lane. They drop it off. Defensively, doing a great job with Hakeem, not really doubling, but ready to dig out when he puts the ball on the floor, come and help, forces a turnover, another thing that leads for them to get out on the break.
So the Utah Jazz with a 5-point lead over that team with the heart of a champion, the Houston Rockets.
You got to be happy, though, if you're the Rockets, because you've really took the best shot. It's like in a heavyweight title fight. You get all of these big 1-2 punches, and all of a sudden you're still there. You're still in the ball game, and Houston's right there.
Should be a nice final 24 minutes. It's 47-42 in favor of Utah. Meantime, earlier tonight, the Atlanta Hawks and the Charlotte Hornets playing at the Hive, and the Hornets looking for a 2-0 lead after being swept in the regular season by Atlanta. The Hawks, just like game 1, out to a great start. Steve Smith had 22 on the night, and he gets free early. They would lead by 15, and then the Hornets come back. Vlade Divac, uncontested with the stick-back jam. They're down by 5 at the half. And then they keep coming back. Len Rice follows his own shot. Nice fundamentals. 24 points. They're up 70-68. Anthony Mason had some big buckets late. Working the offensive glass. Flicks it back in. He had 25 on the night. And the Charlotte Hornets win game 2. They're up 2-love. Holding serve at home, 92-85. Mason goes for 25 and 7. Smith goes for 22 for the Atlanta Hawks, but it's now a 2-0 lead after Atlanta swept the regular season series. And you see they're scoring almost 20 points fewer per game. Field goal percentage down, 3-point percentage down as game 3 looms on Tuesday on TNT. What is Anthony Mason's take on the turnaround?
Everybody know the playoffs a different level. I'm not going to say we laid down during the regular season, or you can't make no excuses. They dominated us regular season. This team went home early last year. They didn't want to go home early this year, so they're playing good basketball. I don't want to make no excuses. We're just playing well.
I got that, I think. Meantime, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Indiana Pacers this afternoon. Indiana wins it 92-86 to take a 2-0 lead in that series. Reggie Miller had 18. Look at the turnovers. Cleveland with 18 to just 8 for the Indiana Pacers. They play game 3 on TNT Monday night. So a couple of teams with a chance to complete sweeps here as they hit the road. The Cleveland Cavaliers are home against the Pacers, who are up 2-0. Charlotte Hornets go to Atlanta trying to sweep. Let's look at both of these. Do you think Cleveland can stay alive and avoid the broom with Indiana right now, Coach?
I think Mike Fratello's got a tough job on his hands. They outshot Indiana today from the floor. They out-free-throwed them. They out-rebounded them. But they still couldn't get it done, and it was the turnovers that cost them. It's a young team. If they can feed off the emotion of the home crowd and get off to a good start, they have a chance, but it's a tough job.
Cleveland was able to win 2 games against Indiana at Gund Arena this year. How about the Hornets going to Atlanta now in search of the sweep at the Georgia Dome?
Well, the toughest game in any series is the closeout game. If you can close a team out, because they're fighting for their lives, their NBA lives right there. So this is the toughest game, and I think it's going to be an advantage for Atlanta because the game is at home. If it was on the road, road, then I would say the brooms, bring them out because everybody's ready to sweep you away.
I tell you what, Charlotte has dominated the second half in the series, outscoring the Hawks 92-70 in the first 2 games. Now, here is the latest on the breakup of the Bulls front. NBC Sports reported today that Iowa State head coach Tim Floyd may be closer to becoming Phil Jackson's successor. According to NBC, Floyd has contacted the trainer of the New Orleans Saints with an offer to join him in Chicago. Bulls PR director Tim Hallam tells Turner Sports that any talks of a coaching change are premature at this time. When the Nike halftime report continues, the highlights from the Valley of the Sun. Suns and Spurs, Game 2, when we come back. What's on tap for Sunday, you ask? Check this out on NBC. 12:30, the Knicks and the Heat, followed by the Blazers taking on Shaq and the Lakers. And then it's the Nets and Bulls at 5:30 Eastern time in Game 2 of their Eastern Conference first round best of 5. What are we doing tomorrow night, you ask? How about a pregame show at 8:30, followed by the Timberwolves and the Sonics Game 2. Minnesota looking to even the score after getting thumped pretty good at Key Arena in Game 1 of that series. Western Conference action this afternoon, San Antonio and Phoenix at America West. And the Phoenix Bombers were at it. George McLeod hit 6 out of 7 on the day, including 4 out of 4 in the first half. Rex Chapman going up top to Antonio McDyess, 70-58 Phoenix. And San Antonio starts chipping away, going to the big guys. David Robinson, smooth jumper. Tim Duncan, who dominated Game 1 with 18 points in the fourth quarter, turnaround jumper. They're only down by 2. And late in the game, down 3, 10 seconds to play. Great look for Jaren Jackson, but he was cold all day. Only 4 out of 14 from the field, 3 out of 11 from beyond the arc. David Robinson and the Spurs fall 108-101, but they had already won the first game of that to at least gain a split on the road. Phoenix wins it by 7. Robinson goes for 23 and 16. Tim Duncan 16, 10, and 4 blocks. The difference for the Phoenix Suns, the Big Mac attack. McLeod and McDyess in Game 1 and Game 2. You see the comparison of the numbers. 43 points they combined for in Game 2 as the Suns win, hitting 16 out of 26, and McLeod hitting all 6 of those 3-pointers. Game 3 Monday night right here on TNT. Your take on the San Antonio Spurs performance today? I get the impression you think they maybe got satisfied with winning Game 1, Kenny.
Well, over the years, I think the Spurs sometimes seems like they have a lack of urgency. And I think if they would have won this game today, this could have really put them over the hump. If you look at here, you have Mark Bryant. He has a wide open jump shot. David Robinson and Tim Duncan are inside. He misses the first shot. David misses rebound. He gets the second, gets that block, gets the third shot. Now, Game 1, that would have never happened. Game 1, they would have stopped him. They would have blocked the shot. David would have grabbed the ball because it was more urgent. And I think in Game 2, the urgency kind of just relaxed a little bit, and they were able to have plays like that.
Series tied at a game apiece, and they go to San Antonio now for Game 3 and 4. Coach, you faced these teams, Phoenix and San Antonio, combined 8 times, 4 apiece. Which one is tougher to play?
2 great teams and 2 teams that are total opposites. To me, Phoenix, because they have the largest collection of players that can just make basketball plays. Guys that can penetrate. Their big guys can all handle and finish. They have great perimeter shooting with McLeod, Scott, and Chapman. And they're a matchup nightmare. Their guards can post up. Their big guys can take you out on the floor. They're really a tough team to match up with.
San Antonio Spurs and the Phoenix Suns, that's a whale of a series in the first round of the Western Conference. Back to put the finishing touch on the Nike halftime report in just a second. The NBA playoffs continuing on TNT.
This program is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the National Basketball Association. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the expressed written consent of the National Basketball Association is prohibited.
Four ties, 4 lead changes all in the first 8 minutes of this game. Utah jumped out with a lot of aggressive play. Houston made a run there in the second quarter. It's a 5-point Utah lead. The Utah Jazz with the best record in the NBA, home court advantage throughout. Lost that advantage when they lost Game 1. But Reggie, you said at the beginning of our ball game that Utah would have to change things up here more than anything else to get back in it. They did that, it seems.
Absolutely. Jerry Sloan said, hey, listen, if we don't come out and stroke people and defend, we can't win. Tonight, so far in this game, they've done just that.
Take a look at this, and you see the results of that. First of all, the shooting percentage. That's because the Rockets have had the ball stripped. They've been contested on every kind of shot attempt they could take. The Jazz didn't shoot that much better, but their defense was so good. And look at the fast break points differential from game one.
I tell you what, game one, it was just the opposite. Houston Rockets had 13 fast break points. The Utah Jazz only 2. Big difference in the effort from Utah tonight.
Charles Barkley was fined $10,000 for his conversation with the fans in the stands. He even went into the stands in game one before halftime, got right in the face of one of the fans particularly. Tonight, though, that's the fan there that has the license tag on. That would tend to get you. You see they're working on him tonight. Charles showing a great deal more patience.
And sometimes, Bob, it's better to let the fans talk to the back of your head.
You've had some fans talking to you.
I've been there.
You know that one. D. Lynam had a chance to talk to Rudy T. of Houston just a moment ago.
Rudy, obviously at the end of the first half, you were very upset. What bothered you most?
Well, that's one play. I thought the guy got fouled, but I'm satisfied with the first half. We knew it was going to be a war, and we fought back. Doing a good job on the boards. Got some guys in foul trouble. Just got to do better with our patience and get better shots on offense. But I feel very fortunate. I feel good about how things are going.
Very nice. Good luck in the second half.
Rudy Tomjanovich. Players Brent Price, Charles Barkley, or really to a man, said they really appreciated not only the job that Rudy Tomjanovich did getting them ready for game one, but the entire coaching staff. They did play a great game one, but they're trailing here by 5. Going into the second half at the Delta Center. Utah trailing in this first round series 1-0, losing the first one 103-90. Olajuwon's been stymied in the middle of the first half. See how he does against Foster. Up and under, can't get a shot off. 8 on the shot clock. Perimeter shot from Drexler doesn't go. Foster rebound. That's a repeat of how the game started. Want to say inside deep. Malone missed the layup. Houston ball.
I tell you what, Karl Malone couldn't get any deeper. Had the shot he wanted, just muffed it just a little bit though. Tonight, 3 for 12, struggling offensively, getting the ball in the hole, but his presence is different. He's their leader tonight. He's playing, at least from an emotional standpoint, like the MVP of the league.
He just stole it while you said that from Kevin Willis. Stockton gets it on the easy basket at the other end.
See, Bob, that's why I was stalling a little bit, because I knew he was about to do something.
On cue. 49-42 Utah, opening moment second half. Along with D. Lynam, Reggie Theus, Bob Neal with you from the Delta Center in Salt Lake City. Olajuwon been sensed right out of a game tonight. Bullard, pull-up jumper. Willis with the board, but look at that. Stripped again by John Stockton. Gonna have a jump ball. We were talking about Olajuwon not being very involved in the game. In 19 minutes of playing time, Akeem has had only 5 shots, has made only 3.
And a lot of times they've been playing him single coverage.
He's had the touches.
He's had the touches and he's had the looks, just not real quick. Doesn't look like he has anywhere near the leg speed that he's had in the past.
Back in the day, as you say, Clyde Drexler would win this jump ball, even with Greg Foster.
I tell you what, but as we said, Greg Foster knows how to steal a tip, and that ball there was on its way up.
He stole it. He's won 12 straight tips at the beginning of the ball game, Foster, and that was a blatant steal.
It's just timing. He gets it just as it's getting ready to get to its climax.
Olajuwon, he got buried in there deep this time, and Foster had no recourse.
But a good foul. Why let Olajuwon get started with something down low easy? Foster laid some wood on him nice and hard, and that's going to make Olajuwon take it out of bounds. Look at this defense. Moving his body. Olajuwon can't be denied, so Foster does the next best thing, and that's hammering.
And didn't give him a chance for a shot attempt,
exactly.
So it just sidelines out of bounds.
Exactly.
Akeem looking for somebody to be posted on the corner, made the drive and the kick, and it just went harmlessly out of bounds. Look at Rudy Tomjanovich's face.
Bob, I thought it was coming to me. I guarantee if I'd have got out, I would have shot it.
Oh, I know. You walked in here the other day after practice. You hadn't even practiced anything. He says, hey, Bob, busted a 3. You guys never forget. Hornacek, with fancy dribbling, almost lost it. 9 on the shot clock. Hornacek goes back to it. The runner was stripped by Willis, who now leads the break with Drexler. Smartly gave it up to Drexler. Mid-range jumper, Maloney.
And a lot of guys you would say, hey, don't stop and shoot a 15-footer. Go and take it to the bucket. But Matt Maloney is very good at that stop and pop from that distance. I'd rather see him shoot that than try to drive it to the bucket.
Right back, though, John Stockton slips inside of Maloney and gets the easy lay-in. That's 2 layups for John Stockton in this third period. 53-44, Jazz by 9.
And Maloney's looking at Willis saying, hey, you've got to give me help. You got to bump that cutter.
10 on the shot clock. Olajuwon Drexler. Olajuwon set to pick. Karl Malone with the rebound. The Jazz came out and just fell on their faces collectively in the third quarter of game number 1, and were outscored 28-14 in that period. They're not going to let that happen here tonight. They build a 5-point halftime lead to 11, and Houston gets a timeout.
And Bob, that half-turn fall-away jumper by Karl Malone in the low post changes his game, gives other guy a different look. It's almost impossible to stop when he's on. Jazz get it back together.
The NBA playoffs on TNT, brought to you by Dutch Boy Paints. Give your home the lasting look of Dutch Boy. And by GMC, putting you comfortably in command.
Well, they're having a better time here tonight. Painted face and all at the Delta Center. 55-44, 11-point lead.
Scorers, Bob, find a way to change and alter their game. He ended the half with this same exact play, a fall-away half-turn off the wrong leg jumper. And that's how Karl mixes and matches his game with what's working for him. It's something that he may go on.
Only 4 of 13 from the floor. 8:45 to go in the third quarter. Maloney working on Stockton, kicking to Bullard. At 6'10", he got the shot off, but Foster with the rebound.
At 6'10", that was a bad shot for Bullard. Didn't have that in his repertoire.
Obviously. Hornacek defended by Drexler. Malone made the catch. Willis was pushing him out of position there. Malone wants that shot and can't get it. 4 on the shot clock. How about the pass?
Oh, that's traveling.
Wasting a great pass from Malone. He was in trouble and found Foster in the paint. Speaking of paint, in 28 minutes of play now, Houston has scored tonight only 8 points in the paint. We were documenting how neither Willis nor Olajuwon has been able to get off a shot down there, sometimes in only single coverage, and there it comes again. Stockton, here comes Bullard, look out. Well, Bullard couldn't get there.
Well, look at the effort defensively by the Utah Jazz, coming out playing like they want this game more than the Houston Rockets.
Look out, Hornacek and Drexler. Hornacek got his arm wedged underneath the wing of Clyde. The whistle sounded, though. Hornacek will get the foul. Now Rudy Tomjanovich is flirting with one himself as he talks to Hugh Evans, and Rudy T has one technical in this game already. This, by the way, is the biggest Utah lead of 13. They had led by 12 at 33-21.
Mano a mano, when players get locked up, nobody's going to give. I'm not going to let you have it. You're not going to let me have it. We'll just see who's going to get it in the end.
Utah foul as Olajuwon trying to get something done inside. Kevin Willis said thank you for the call. The personal is on Foster, his third.
Very important for Olajuwon to get involved in this game. Offensively, Bob, they're giving him a lot of touches down in the post, and on many occasions playing them single coverage. He's got to make Greg Foster pay down there, and one of the ways is by getting to the line.
Houston only 1 of 5 from the floor with 3 turnovers in this period as Akeem, who's a career 24-point, 12-rebound player, has only 16 points and 9.8 boards this year. Good numbers for any other center, but down for Akeem Olajuwon. Started the year after surgery on that left knee. Bullard got the offensive board, missed the putback. Goes again. Fouled is Bullard. Working hard, couldn't get it to go down, however.
Matt Bullard, now that's in his game. Get it, bang it around, and get it up into the bucket toward the areas. Look at this effort by Matt Bullard. misses on the easy one, which he probably should have done, but right here gathers himself and takes it right back in. Another good look by our camera people. Right there, just great hustle all over the place.
Bullard hits a free throw. That's 14 fouls on Utah already in this quarter. We have 7:37 to go in the third, and this could become significant. Houston's a very good free throw shooting team themselves at 77%. They were 4th in the NBA this year. It is now a 10-point Jazz lead, their biggest lead of the game, moments ago at 13. Drexler and Hornacek, it's hot there tonight. Look at bodies flying in the paint.
I was just getting ready to say players bumping each other by off the ball when there's no significant reason to do so. And then, of course, you see it going down the lane, another collision.
Ronnie Nunn, Hugh Evans talking it over. The foul is going to be on Drexler. And how about this? That's number 4 on Clyde Drexler. And Rudy T just realized that he's going to have to get Drexler out of there at first opportunity. 7:21 to go in the period. Going to get Mario Elie in here in a minute. Hornacek's drive. Stockton open for the jumper over Bullard. Jazz by 12. Drexler with 4 personals.
Hornacek knows the foul situation. I guarantee you that's why he took Drexler to the hole. But defense stopped him, and he found his open man. Stopped him.
Bullard for 3. Drexler with a near steal. Malone. Keith. Hornacek. Drexler, how about that? Got right in his face. Hornacek open for the 3, didn't get it. Sloan calling for an illegal defense, not getting it either. Malone working on Olajuwon. Who's going to have the foul called on him, and that's 2 on Hakeem. Now Elie is in. Drexler will sit down with his 4 personals.
I tell you what, it is a total disadvantage of any man when Karl Malone gets you that low into the basket. He's so wide, he's so quick, and when he turns, Bob, he turns with his elbows flared, so it's really difficult not to take the contact.
Hey, ask David Robinson. Maloney had some blood on his knee. Speaking of contact in the game, had to get it cleaned off for health and safety reasons.
I tell you what, they say that West Coast basketball is no contact. They're not watching this basketball game because there's been a lot of contact in this ball game. Under the bucket and out front.
Jazz lead it by 13. If Malone hits this free throw, it'll be the biggest lead of the ball game by either team. The man who's really keyed the scoring in this quarter has been John Stockton, who has 8 in the period.
Well, he averaged 16 points a game against them in the regular season and really kept them on their heels with his aggressive play tonight, doing the same thing.
Trying to get it inside. Here's where Houston has been denied in the paint, and once again it happens. Elie open for the 3, but he takes it inside, made an extra pass out of bounds. It'll be Houston ball with 9 left. Cloud applauding this Utah defense, particularly in the paint, Reggie.
I tell you what, Foster's doing a great job. Olajuwon went to his famous patented spin and got no place because the defense was there.
Back to him again. There's the fadeaway. Rebound, Hornacek.
Forced him into going that way because he can't get anything anyplace else.
61-47 Utah. This is a reverse of the third period on Thursday night. Houston only 1 of 8 in this period. 1 field goal. Houston foul. It's on Kevin Willis. How about the third period on Thursday night? First of all, Utah missed their first 8 shots. We're only 3 of 16 overall. There's a good look at it right now. 0 for 3 on 3. Stockton had 3 turnovers, scored only 14 points, and now, with 5:58 to go in this third period, Houston has scored only 1 field goal. Shot clock at 10. Foster hands it to Keith. Execution. Utah 7 of 10 field goals in the quarter. They're coming in the paint and on breakaways. Crowd on their feet. Timeout, Houston. How about Greg Foster? Traded along with Chris Morris to Orlando for Ronnie Cycli. Cycli wouldn't report. You see, Cycli played a little bit with New Jersey now, finally. And Greg Foster came back. He never wanted to leave because Utah's his 16th in his career, and he felt he had found a home here. He didn't want to leave anyway, so he was okay with the trade coming back. Chris Morris wasn't so okay, but actually learned to accept it himself.
Well, I tell you what, and the way the fans treated him when they had to come back was really big. Jerry Sloan said that he told the guys that you can come back and be upset, but that's not going to hurt anybody but you and us. But you can come back and maybe some good things will happen for you if you come back and do the right thing. And really, as far as the fans and this community and this organization have bettered their situations here in Utah.
Yeah, you see that nearly doubling his rebound totals, and that's effort. That comes from his
Total effort.
attitude.
And tonight playing a great job defensively on Olajuwon. Notice, no double teams.
What happens this time? Single team this time. Olajuwon finally gets to come across the paint in the way that he wants to and gets the little jump hook to drop.
Absolutely. No defense can stop that. Let him get too deep.
Houston has scored only 10 points in the last 9 minutes. Utah D. Stockton in the paint. Kicks to Keith. Olajuwon fouled him with the body before he got the block. Olajuwon had 6 blocks, 5 in this period in game 1.
Olajuwon trying to get to the game, but watch the low part of his body, not the upper part, right there, down low. A lot of times what you see is not just body to body, but the off arm of the defensive player in the guts of the offensive player. That's what the referee calls on many occasions.
Adam Keefe misses a free throw, shooting 81. He's had his best career ever. And to top that, he also is the proud father of twin daughters. So best year, twin daughters, not a bad year.
And I understand that Brian Russell's got a couple in the oven that are twins. So what's going on here?
It's water. Utah water.
Is that air, that thin air?
Always said that. 64-49. Utah, we have a holding foul on Foster, and that is Greg Foster's 4th personal. That'll bring Greg Ostertag into the game, along with Howard Isley, the 5-minute mark of period number 3.
Ostertag has some pretty big shoes to fill right now because Greg Foster has been doing a great job on both ends of the floor, and more than anything, he's been physical down low. Ostertag, that big body, has a lot of fouls to give, could do the same right now and help his club.
Foster, 7 points, 5 boards. Olajuwon misses the free throw. 14th year for Akeem. He played on that great Phi Slamma Jamma team at the University of Houston. They went to the Final Four under Guy Lewis in 82 and 83. Clyde Drexler and Larry Michaud, I think is how you pronounce his name. It's been so long I almost forgot. Was the 3rd man in that Phi Slamma Jamma there at Houston back in the early 80s. Remember the plaid coat of Guy Lewis, too.
And the plaid pants.
Yeah, that's right. Of course, I was wearing plaid pants then, so I didn't think that was that unusual.
Oh, my God.
I was. 11 on the shot clock, 4:47 to go in the period. You should have known me then.
Yeah, but did you have the white shoes on?
Well,
that's scary, Bob. Please
maybe.
don't tell me.
Maybe. Oh, give and go. Pick and roll, really. And Ostertag missed the jam.
Give me a break.
Gracious.
Come on.
7-2. Come on. That's right. Come on. He takes a lot of heat here. He was booed in the last home regular season game, is Greg. Of course, he was the star of the playoffs for Utah in their run before they lost 4-2 to Chicago in the championship last year. Signed a big contract, came into camp out of shape. Karl Malone jumped all over him. Then, of course, in the first game, which we were televising on TNT with Utah and L.A., Shaquille O'Neal went up to him and slapped him. It's not been a good year for Greg. He had a stress fracture in his fibula, too.
I tell you what, at 7'2", when you have nobody in front of you, you go for a 2-hand dunk. That's supposed to go down. I don't care about anything else. That is ridiculous for a guy 7'2" to miss that type of dunk.
12-point Jazz lead. Houston hanging around, and this has been a Jazz quarter with 4:25 to go, but Houston hanging just close enough so that a couple of buckets can get them down inside that 10-point mark. Isley left alone for the jumper, though. He beat Malone. Malone once again said, where's the help inside?
But I tell you what a great pick by Karl Malone down low to free up Isley. He came off wide open.
Eddie Johnson from Olajuwon. Not tonight. Malone with the rebound in front of Charles Barkley, who had just come into the game. Barkley, Ellie, Maloney, Olajuwon, and Eddie Johnson on the court right now for the Houston Rockets. Isley, nice dish to Brian Russell. Barkley said, "No, Eddie, you get paid for shooting. I need the board." Charles Barkley, by the way, would have been 4th in rebounding this year if he'd have played 70 games or had 700 rebounds. But he played 68 games and had only 794. But he would have been 4th had he qualified statistically.
Charles Barkley doing a great job of letting the referee know that it was an illegal defense just by holding the ball a little bit longer. Got Greg Ostertag in the illegal position.
That's the second, therefore, the technical shot by Eddie Johnson, and then Houston gets it sideline out of bounds as they trail now by 13, 3:25 to go in the quarter. I got a great job for Charles if he quits playing active basketball, officiating.
Wouldn't that be ironic? If it served him right.
Kind of a purgatory of his own.
Exactly.
Charles up and under. Olajuwon with an offensive board. Ostertag got it out of his hands and then cleared it to Hornacek. Hakeem is not the dream tonight. He's really struggling. Barkley against Malone. That's a fadeaway. Not only did he fade away, he faded out of the picture when Barkley gave him a little tap there.
Very difficult to defend that shot, as he's gone to that quite a bit in this half. Showing us different looks, giving Barkley a real hard time down low, and it's so hard, Bob, because when you get the body pressure on you, there's nothing you can do but fall away with the man and try to slap at it.
Tomorrow at 6:30, Rob Morrow stars in the TNT original, The Day Lincoln Was Shot. Karl Malone's numbers 13-8. I gave it the Siskel and Ebert. They didn't give it the thumbs up, but I'm sure they would have if we were to ask him. Really good movie. Hope you'll dial into on TNT. I enjoyed Charles Barkley's comments. He's talking about Malone and Stockton. He says, no question they're future Hall of Famers. He says, John Stockton's the greatest point guard ever, and Karl Malone is one of the greatest power forwards.
And he's not supposed to give it up like that.
3 minutes to go in the period. 68-53, Jazz by 15. Led by 5 at the half. Olajuwon got inside of Ostertag for the short baseline jumper. Stockton getting a lot of rest this period. As Isley, as he's done all year long, holds the court very well.
See the timing on their pick and roll, how they start down low and then bring it up. Really sets the tone for the spacing. This team is very, very smart and executes well. That was a picture-perfect pick and roll. Isley 1-4 with Karl Malone.
Good call, Reggie. That was exactly well executed, almost Houston-like in the penetration and the kick out. And the Brian Russell triple.
And the nice kick out, drive and kick basketball. That's what we love to see.
Things are starting to happen here at the Delta Center. The Jazz enjoying a 16-point lead, and I'm with Bobby Sloan. Bobby, did Jerry rehearse his pregame speech because these guys came out inspired?
Well, I don't know that he rehearsed it in front of me, but I think he has done this many times before. We've been at this for 33 years, and every year we say, it can't get better than this, but here we are again, and it is better than this.
You have the perfect seat by design, you said. Why did you end up in this section?
Well, I have 4 seats right behind the bench where Jerry is, but I just watched him. And so I said, I need to go see somewhere where I can see the game. So I bought these 2 tickets, and now I can see the whole game here.
Very good. You're seeing a great one tonight. Bob, Reggie?
Thank you, Dee. She could also say, honey, loaf of bread, milk, cottage cheese on your way home.
And bring me a paper.
Minute 58 to go in the period. 71-57 Jazz. Look at the Houston defense turning up a notch. Olajuwon comes away with the ball. Barkley behind the back to Brian Russell. Oh, the fans love that mistake.
Well, we probably saw the adjustment that Houston's going to make on the pick and roll.
Malone is fouled. Excellent defense started the break for Houston. Charles had it on the run, tried to go behind his back. Didn't see Brian Russell. Russell got it, and it turns into a Malone free throw.
Great defense on one end. Charles trying to find his handles. Charles. Good idea. It was going right for him, but then Brian Russell making a very nice defensive play.
How much, as Akeem picked up his 4th personal, Drexler also with 4. How much is Houston struggling? Well, how about this? They have more turnovers than baskets. 5 turnovers, 4 hoops this quarter. Olajuwon's 3 of 5. The rest of Houston, only 1 of 9 in the period. It's a reversal. I've said it 2 or 3 times, but it's amazing how much this game has been a mirror in reverse of game number 1.
No question, and it really did start with the effort in the beginning of the game. The Jazz coming out setting the tone. Utah Jazz going into that pick and roll quite a bit. Houston was playing it straight up. Now it looks like they're going to be double teaming that pick and roll, trying to get the ball out of the point guard's hands into some scramble offense.
The extra effort balls are going to Utah also. They get the offensive rebound off the Malone miss. Leading by 15. 1:23 to go in the 3rd period. 6 on the shot clock. Malone ball fake, drive and shoot. At 6'9", 260 pounds, like a guard, Reggie.
But they execute so well. They did a great job in double teaming, and then they go to the 2nd and 3rd option, and that being Karl Malone shooting from the perimeter.
Malone to the hoop, didn't get a call, missed it. Malone got the rebound. Maloney to the hoop. Malone with the rebound, his 9th. Karl. Look out.
See Karl get into his rhythm on that. A 1 bounce, turn, get into his flago, and then fall back.
20 in the game, 11 in the quarter for Malone. Kevin Willis trying to shoot it over the 7-2. Ostertag. The turnover into the hands of Brian Russell. He's fouled at half court with 38 seconds to go in the 3rd period. Utah, throughout the season with their 62 wins, the 3rd quarter, much like the Chicago Bulls, was their quarter all year long.
And that's because of their veteran team. They know how important that is, and they go in at halftime a lot of times, Bob, and smart veteran teams make adjustments at halftime and come out, and because of their abilities, they get right into it and handle it like the pros they are.
Brian Russell with the free throw. As I said, 38 seconds in the period. We're going to get Shandon Anderson on the floor for Jeff Hornacek in this final 38 seconds. Utah has scored 30 points in this period. They had 14 in the period in this 3rd quarter in game number 1. Olajuwon, Drexler on the bench there. Bullard in the middle between them. Both Drexler and Olajuwon carrying 4 personal fouls. Shot of Barkley talking.
Utah really doing the things that they have to do tonight, Bob, and that is the transition defense has been great, and then their effort offensively has been superb.
21-point Utah lead.
And of course, especially defensively, just as you saw, getting their hands on a lot of balls, and then that causing opportunities on the offensive end. Just tremendous effort by the Utah Jazz.
Well, Jerry Sloan never minces words. He certainly minced none after game number 1. He said Houston threw us down, talked to us, stepped over us, intimidated us.
And then stood over us and said, what you gonna do about it?
Exactly. And you said pretty good psychology.
Very good psychology.
With this kind of team, because if you go right to their pride, I can't imagine, and neither could Jerry, that they wouldn't respond.
But that's how Jerry Sloan deals with his teams. That's why he's so effective with the stability of this team and the personality of this team. He is one of the straight talkers of the league and just tells it flat like it is. We got worked in game 1. That's exactly what he told them. If we can't get into it and stroke people, we're not going to win.
Points off turnovers in this game. Utah has outscored Houston 21-6. 16 seconds in the period. Barkley, no doubt, will take the final shot. That's where my money is. Backing in Antoine Carr. Shot clock to 5. Up and under, stripped again, but the foul is called, and Charles will go to the line. See if his free throw practice pays off better than it did his first trip to the line.
Boy, there's a very helpless feeling when you got a guy like Karl Malone backing you down slowly, waiting. You know he's going to shoot it, or he's waiting for the defense to come. Something definitely going to happen. What a tough situation.
Karl on the bench the final minute or so of this as Barkley could back Antoine Carr down a little bit better than he can Karl Malone. So
I'm telling you, both those guys.
that's a load.
Hey, both those guys got a lot of junk in the trunk. I'm telling you, it's difficult. Barkley backing down Big Dog, that's something else.
Junk in the trunk. You never cease to entertain me. Barkley got his own miss and put back with 1 second left in the period. He's got his junk in the trunk too. 19-point lead for Utah at this quarter. They led by 5 at the half, so they outscored Houston by 14 points in the third period. 79 points for the Jazz in this ball game with 12 to go.
It's a hard play to defend because of the players. You know, we're not talking about, if Larry Limbo and Jesse James were running the pick and roll, it wouldn't be a big deal. But when you got the greatest point guard ever and a great, great power forward, it's not the same.
You're always talking about angles and spacing offensively. Let it go, guys. Right here, Karl Malone comes in and sets a nice pick on Maloney's. Stop it, let it go. And then if you don't step out, John Stockton, stop right there. Draws the defense. Look at this defense. And then Stockton looking for the open guy. Foster finding a way to make it happen. And then the extra pass down low. I love it.
I think you like that.
I love that kind of basketball.
Pick and roll, look at this. 10 times tonight, 18 points. Houston had that pick and roll defensed in game number 1. By the way, who did Larry Limbo and Jesse James play for originally? Barr, mid-range jumper, not that time. Barkley with the board. He has 5 rebounds tonight, does Charles. Jazz by 19. Houston has 11 minutes, 40 seconds to make a comeback.
If you really want to know, is the Washington Generals and the Globetrotters.
Yeah, I saw you doing a Globetrotters game not too long ago.
I had a lot of fun.
They're still fun.
I knew everything they were going to do and still had a great time.
That's another post NBA job for Charles. He'd punch me if he heard me say that. So you have no respect for my game. 7 on the shot clock. Turnaround Eddie Johnson. Ostertag with a rebound. In the third period, Houston was only 5 of 16, 31%. Olajuwon was 3 of 5, but the rest of the Houston Rockets were 2 of 11 in that third period. That's why the 20-point lead for Utah. Isley couldn't get the lay-in to fall. Jazz by 19. Houston's got a run in them. If they have a run in them, they could cut this thing down to around 10 points and we still have a game. Drexler back in with his 4. How about that move? But it didn't fall. Not tonight. Not tonight for Houston.
Didn't do anything but cause another fast break opportunity for Utah. And of course, Bob, they capitalized. They're one of the best running teams in the league. People don't give them enough credit. They average over 100 points a game, and most of it because they have guys on the first team and the second team that can get up and down the floor.
Brian Russell with 3 threes tonight, and now he's defending Clyde. Willis posted against Ostertag, and the foul is called by Ken Mauer. Here's Brian Russell's 3. Brian only shot 34% from beyond the arc since they moved it out this year. He was better last year.
And he's always talking about give me some air time. I told him before the game, you got to hit a shot to get a replay over here.
You're cold. Brian Russell, 5th season, Long Beach State, 28 years old, 9 points, 4 boards he averaged this year. A less than average year for Brian Russell.
Now, a lot of people wondered, how did Clyde Drexler know that Kevin Willis was right behind him? The reason is because he knows the veteran player is going to follow and step into the slots when the defense goes to double. Tremendous basketball knowledge by these 2 guys. Just a great play.
Jazz by 22. Kevin Willis has been relatively quiet tonight. Kevin has 8 points in the game, now 9. I say relatively quiet, 11 boards. But he's only 3 for 8 from the floor. Got them both that time. Made it a 20-point Jazz lead with 10:21 to go. Looks like this series is, unless a real shock happens, is going to go to Houston for a game on Wednesday. These teams will have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off. 3 days off before they play in Houston for game 3. Undoubtedly go there tied at 1 game apiece. Houston deflected that pass. Isley had to put up the prayer, banked it home. It's that kind of night for the Jazz.
Even Charles Barkley had to smile after that shot.
22-point Utah lead. Willis, you could see his lack of confidence. He hesitated before that shot. All caused by the intense defense.
Nowhere near the same basketball looks the Rockets are getting tonight because the Jazz defense has been swarming.
In the 4 regular season games, that foul's going to be on Willis. In the 4 regular season games, which Utah swept, 3 of them were close, and in fact, Houston had led in the 4th quarter. There was 1 blowout in that series. This may be the 2nd blowout of the year. Reminder to tune into NBC tomorrow at noon for Showtime, followed by a triple header. Knicks Heat at 12:30, game 2. Blazers Lakers at 3, game 2. Nets Bulls at 5:30, game 2. Then tomorrow night, I guess it's a quadruple header if you count both of us, and I always do count both of us. Pre-game show at 8:30 on TNT Eastern Time, followed by the Wolves Sonics, game 2. Inside the NBA at 11:30 Eastern tomorrow night. So 4 playoff games available for you on television tomorrow, Sunday. Guess a lot of lawns will go unmown. You guys are scoring by half, Reg. You take a look at the difference in this. 20 points for Houston in this 2nd period.
And a lot of that has a lot to do with the defense by the Utah Jazz. Houston shooting only 33% for this game. In game 1, they shot a 46.5 clip for the game. The defense has been enormous.
Remember where Jerry Sloan got that little mark there on the left cheek? I think maybe he was...
Probably didn't bring that paper home that his wife was talking about.
When Jerry Sloan was playing at Chicago, before he coached you at Chicago, Jerry Sloan was as marked up as any player I've ever seen.
I tell you what, he came in as a coach. He was Jerry Sloan, ex-player, coaching that first year, but you could see so much of the potential. Now he's Jerry Sloan, big time, one of the best coaches in the league.
Probably, I think, will win the NBA Coach of the Year. I don't know that. There's several good candidates, obviously. Eddie Johnson.
Well, he's got my vote mainly because he's gone so unrecognized for so long, and this team has done nothing but win 50 games and go to the playoffs 15 years in a row.
Yeah, simply 15 years in a row. Think of that. There's Bobby with an E. Said she moved away from the bench so she could quit looking at her husband and watch the game. 8:40 to go in the ballgame. 85-65, Jazz by 20. Houston not really showing signs of making a comeback. 6 on the shot clock for Isley and the Jazz. Price, great steal, but
he's got time.
He's going to pull up for the 3.
And
yes.
Why not?
He saw the big dog headed underneath the basket, and Brent Price, of course, Mark's brother, I'm sure everybody knows that. Brent Price had 4 3-pointers in game number 1. That was Brent's first NBA playoff game ever. He was always injured in other opportunities.
And that particular shot, it's only a bad shot if it doesn't go in. You got to take the heat when it doesn't go in.
You know what that reminded me of? 77 NCAAs watching practice of the UNLV running Rebs with one sudden Sam Smith.
Oh, yeah.
And Reg, you fellas practiced that at practice, pull-up 3s.
No question. Tart said, hey, whenever you feel it, let it fly. Sam Smith, Tony Smith, those guys can really feel it.
Yeah.
But
and
they went cold on us in that game.
Yes, they did in the big game. Well, you live, how many times you heard it?
I know.
Live by it, die by it. 85-68, Rockets making a mini comeback here with 7:56 to go. Charles Barkley at the line. Charles tonight with 7 points. He has 6 rebounds in 23 minutes. And the mailman is back. Carr sits down. Karl Malone, 20 points, 9 boards tonight. Charles, when this season is over, is going to have surgery on a left groin hernia, called a sports hernia. Incredibly painful to play with. Charles said when he was making comments about, I wish the season were over, he says, that's so I can have that operation, get this pain over with. 7 to shoot. Russell. Foul called. Illegal defense called before he shot the ball on Kevin Willis.
Bob, regardless of how this game ends up, there's 3 games in between the time that they play, 3 days between the time they play again, and I really think that plays in the Houston Rockets' favor. With their injuries and their age, it's really nice to go home with that type of preparation at hand.
In the old days, Charles would have invited Grandma over to cook the meal for the team. Drexler from Barkley. Brian Russell, you heard him yell, "Ugh." Charles Barkley said, "Get up and play." 10-0 Houston run. This is now back to a Jazz 13-point lead. You've heard the term so many times, heart of a champion. The Houston Rockets have won the title. This is a team under that man right there, Hakeem Olajuwon, who've been to the promised land, but they still have the pride of a champion.
That's what propelled them in game 1, was their heart.
Kevin Willis caused the alteration on that shot, and now this is 4-on-2. Brent Price is going to pull up for the 3, not this time. Good idea. He's a good three-point shooter off the dribble, so that's not a bad shot for him.
Not a bad shot, but what messed it up for him was he took a hard look to see where the defense was, and that made him lose his concentration.
Spoken like a shooter, Reggie.
Hey, one year there, the head coach, you'll be wish he was playing again. I can tell you. Take it from coach. Yeah, take it from me. He wish he was playing again.
There you go. There is Denny Price. He's now the athletic director at Phillips University in Enid, Oklahoma. Longtime basketball coach, was at Oklahoma University Phoenix Suns, following his son's careers. First Mark, then Brent Price, and getting a chance to see Brent hit 4 threes in game 1, and this pull-up triple here. You said something before the game. What a feeling it must be for the players and for the father to be able to come and see this happen with his
There are
flesh and
so
blood.
many of us, Bob, that never had the opportunity to have our fathers see us play. And for that, to have that relationship with your dad, to share that is tremendous at this point in both of their lives.
Yeah, Brent began his collegiate career in South Carolina, transferred to Oklahoma, once scored 56 points when he was a junior there against Loyola Marymount. I guess that was an up-and-down game.
Well, he's got a tremendous future ahead of him. Been injury plagued, but now has a chance to keep it going and play some good basketball.
Yeah, played 72 games this year. We have an 85-72 Jazz lead. Olajuwon just picked up his 5th personal foul. Now that's not as big a blow to Houston as it might have been otherwise, because he struggled tonight. 6 of 10 from the floor. Only 5 rebounds. I think the key there is Olajuwon's made, I don't know, let's say 20 catches down low. He's only been able to shoot it 10 times, and the defense has been stifling.
Well, in game 1, they were giving it to Olajuwon. They were double teaming, and Olajuwon was kicking it out. They were hitting their threes. This time, single coverage, Olajuwon not being able to take advantage offensively of the defense, and consequently has not really gotten into any flow. Just looks very slow and not really springy from the knee area.
14-point Utah lead. Houston's still hanging around here with 6:21 to go, but they haven't shown any signs of any run. Drexler inside and one. Like I say, they're hanging in.
Clyde Drexler, very nice crab dribble in the middle. And watch him down low. He's going to get to his spot. He's going to plant, and then a little bit of a hesitation right there. You see him hold the defense, freeze it, and then timing when to go up with the ball is so important. Only an instinctive thing, cannot be taught by any coach.
I hate it that we're seeing Clyde Drexler for the last time in these playoffs. He'll retire at the end of the season, become head coach at the University of Houston. 13-1 Houston run. Houston shooting the penalty too with 6:06 to go in this 4th quarter. I don't think Utah's going to have an opportunity to relax. Charles Barkley picks up the personal, and that's 5 on Barkley.
Utah Jazz so good at their counters when it comes to their offense. Right there, Karl Malone goes down to set the pick. Barkley has to give help, because if he doesn't on that UCLA pick, there's a layup. But when he gives help, what does Karl Malone do? He goes to his body, Bob, seals him deep, and really nothing that you can do once Karl Malone gets that deep.
This is Karl Malone's 11th free throw attempt of this game. Always among the league leaders in attempts per game at 10 this year. 11 in this game, only 5 in game 1. Another difference and another reason that the Jazz have a relatively comfortable lead here with 6:05 to go.
How's your mama doing?
Did you hear? You heard Charles Barkley chatting with the fans.
Well, he wasn't just chatting. He made a statement. He just wanted to know how his mother was doing.
It's Mother's Day's around the corner. Barkley wants the set shot three. Malone won't give it to him. Malone ran out on him. Houston can't find an open look. Russell on Drexler. Stripped it as Drexler tried to drive. There's going to be a jump ball. What defense has been played? The Utah Jazz trademark stripping of the ball. Once you put it on the floor, when the Jazz are playing defense the way they're capable, that ball is in danger.
And you know what the key is to that, Bob? You can say a lot of different things about defense. It's coming out in the beginning of the game and establishing that's the way you're going to play defense. That way the referees won't call every one of them, because not every one of them is a clean swipe. But the law of averages.
88-75, Houston ball. New 24-second shot clock. Utah won the tip, but as you saw, it went out of bounds. Drexler's going to try it again in there. To Barkley all the way across the court. Barkley misses the three. Drexler picks it up, gives it to the Dream. Not tonight. Eddie Johnson with an offensive rebound. Houston hanging around here. Eddie Johnson, bullet pass inside, ill-advised. Intended for Barkley, intercepted by Malone, and watch him run the floor.
Oh, yeah.
And a block by Barkley. But the foul is called. Whoa. Now that is two of the all-time great basketball players by anybody's measurement.
And two guys with sports hernias.
Right, and aging basketball players. And watch the speed.
Look at the hustle.
See the speed.
I don't know where the foul is, because as Barkley goes up, you can see the space between them. Watch the space in between them and up high. There is no foul on that play, fellas. And I tell you what hustle.
They called the foul on Brent Price.
Okay.
Barkley would have fouled out had it been called on him. You were right, Reggie. There was no foul there. What amazed me is Malone, who is... Elijah Wan just got his second technical and is out of this ball game. Ronnie Nunn called it, and Elijah Wan will sit down with 16 points. Same amount of points he had in game 1, but only 5 rebounds for the Dream tonight. Very frustrated Akeem Olajuwon.
No question. Not a guy who gets a tremendous amount of technical fouls, but certainly tonight not being able to play his game, getting bumped around, not feeling it very well, shows his frustration right there.
Clyde Drexler now over in the corner having his chant with Hugh Evans. Clyde is such a charmer. You said he's one of the nicest guys. How about Hornacek missing the free throw? That's news. Clyde Drexler is one of the most intense basketball players I've ever seen, but universally well-liked. You can't say that about many people.
I mean, you can get upset in this league, but a lot of times it's how you deal with the referees when the ball is dead. It's how you deal with the referees. Sometimes when they make a mistake, they don't want to hear about it every time. And Clyde Drexler knows how to pick his spots dealing with the referees.
Malone with the free throw line at 89-75 Jazz, 5:19 to go. This has been an intense game. It's not been all that close. Houston made a pretty good run at the end of the half. They were down by only 5 points, but then Utah blew them out in the third quarter. A mini Houston run here in the fourth quarter is coming to naught, as now the Jazz have rebuilt that lead to 15 points. And Karl Malone's getting his whacks at the free throw line here tonight. This will be his 14th free throw attempt, and if he makes it, his 24th point. He didn't. 23 points. 5:15 to go. Houston's barrage of threes could certainly put them back in, but they had just not had many open looks. Drexler got that. Eddie Johnson with the rebound to put back. It doesn't go. Brian Russell has it stolen by Drexler, but lost out of bounds. Utah ball.
I'm Bob, I think quite a bit. You got to give the Jazz a lot of credit for their defense, but quite a bit of the offensive problems by the Rockets have been early in the game. They started off playing a lot of one-on-one basketball, and that's not how they got into their offensive game in game one.
Uh-oh, look out down there, Barkley. Stockton wants a piece of Barkley. There's no quit in Stockton, but I don't know if he wants a piece of Barkley. Barkley called for the foul, and that means he's disqualified. He's fouled out of the ballgame. That's perhaps when Stockton pushed him, maybe he was just saying, you're out of the game.
You know what happens, Bob?
Go ahead home.
Veteran players know when the game is over sometime and you want to give your last little statement out there is you go ahead and pop somebody and walk away. The one thing that I appreciate is that Barkley knew that he popped Stockton hard. When it happened, he expected Stockton to come and retaliate, but he just turned and kept walking. Didn't even deal with the fact that Stockton went after him.
Listen to this crowd. Oh, they love to hate Charles. Well, they're going back to Houston. He'll get some rest. 90-75 Jazz, 4:38 to go. Charles is fouled out of the game. Barkley completes tonight's ball game with 8 points, 7 rebounds, and a special well-guarded escort for Charles. Probably wise to leave the arena. He's fouled out of the ball game, and they don't need any kind of incidents coming out of the stands.
They don't need anybody to start anything more than what has already gone on.
That foul was on Hornacek, his 4th, as Eddie Johnson's to the line. In the game with 4:32, I keep saying this, I don't see a comeback for Houston the way it's going tonight. But they are going to be down 13.
Well, the one thing you always have to think about under these circumstances, they came in here, took game one, something that most people didn't think that they could do. They played a pretty good basketball game tonight, and for the most part was within scoring contact.
Stockton easily around Brent Price. Price ahead, intercepted by Stockton.
And that right there, Bob, is indicative to what has gone on for the Utah Jazz. And then they follow it up with a Stockton Malone hookup like they've been doing for the last 13 years.
Turn out the lights. You see that Othella Harrington is in the ball game. Harrington gets very little playing minutes in these playoffs. The second-year player from Georgetown. 94-77, 3:51 to go. It's going to go back to Houston. Tied at 1. The crowd really loving this. They didn't have much to cheer about in game one. So now they're getting a chance to do that. And right here's a standing ovation for their beloved Utah Jazz. Want to remind you to stay tuned for Inside the NBA following the game. Vince Cellini, Cheryl Miller, and special guest Danny Shays recap all of today's playoff action. Of course, Cleveland, Indiana, Atlanta, Charlotte, San Antonio, Phoenix, Houston, Utah. Don't miss it. Tonight's Dutch boy in the paint. Well, we know one thing. Houston has not been successful in the paint tonight. The rebounds are tied at 39 apiece. Fast break points, Jazz 22-7. That's a lot of paint points. But primarily, this game has been physical. And, of course, mostly physical in the paint.
Come out and set the tone early. With the body contact, the pushing, not backing down. Game one, they backed down considerably, and the Houston Rockets walked all over them tonight. Really doing a great job. Look at this.
Charles got not in our house, not this time.
And
but you're still only 1-1, I might point out.
No question, but they came out and did the one thing they had to do, and that was stop the fast break points. Last game, 19 points off of fast break opportunities. Tonight, only 7, and that's a tribute to the Utah Jazz transition defense.
John Stockton has really brought his A game tonight. 10 assists, only 1 turnover. Malone, loose ball foul. Western Conference playoffs. Let's kind of catch up where everything is. This game's going to end up 1-1 going back to Houston for a game not until next Wednesday night, which we will have for you on TNT. Phoenix, San Antonio, that series today with Phoenix win. San Antonio looked flat in that game and perhaps even tired I watched most of that. 1-1, it's tied. Lakers in Portland will play tomorrow. That'll be on NBC. Lakers lead at 1-0. Seattle, Minnesota tomorrow night at 9 on TNT. That's 9 Eastern time. Seattle leading that series 1-0.
I thought the difference in the San Antonio-Phoenix game was Rex Chapman coming in, getting some significant minutes. They didn't know if he was really going to play, but he came in and not only got some assists, but got some big-time points for him.
Stay tuned inside the NBA right after this game. Vince Cellini, Cheryl Miller, Danny Shays recapping all of today's playoff action right after the ball game. 3:05 to go. Now Jacques Vaughn getting his first playoff action ever. He's the rookie from Kansas at number 11. Hornacek back into the game from 18, missing. Rebound, Roderick Rhodes getting his first playoff action too. Roderick Rhodes is the rookie from Southern Cal.
Houston, a great opportunity with 3 days in between before their next game to go in, look at some tape, and find out what adjustments they have to make, just like the Jazz came in this game and made some significant adjustments. One thing that they have to do is find a way to get Akeem Olajuwon involved in the offense where he can put some points up on the board if he's going to get that many touches in the scheme of their offensive things.
Roderick Rhodes trying to back down Hornacek. Got a foul call. By the way, one of the other players on the floor here in the garbage time is number 27 for Houston, Charles Jones. He said, "I'm retiring after the season this time," and I really meant it. He's 41. 4 brothers have played. Wilbert, who played way back in '68 in the ABA, Caldwell, Major. At one time in '84 and '85, Charles, Caldwell, and Major all played in the NBA at the same time. And I like this quote from Charles: "Time to get out of the family business and leave it to the Berries." John, Brent, and Drew all playing in the NBA right now. And of course, their dad, the great Hall of Famer Rick. So this will be some of the last opportunities to see Charles Jones. Hornacek. Fella Harrington with the board. 2 minutes.
Othella Harrington is a player that Rudy T really likes. He's a guy that he wants to play more opportunities on the floor, but hey, when you're in the playoffs, a lot of times you got to stick with your veterans.
It's an 11-point Jazz lead with 1:49 to go. We're going to have the Houston foul, and if you look across the way at the scorers table, Malone and Stockton are sitting over there. Jerry Sloan is not going to take any chances. Jacques Vaughn will have a chance to get on the scoreboard. Ostertag sits down. Malone does come back in. Brent Price fouls out.
Very important for the Utah Jazz to set a precedence here and really try to send a message to the Houston Rockets by giving them one seriously solid whooping.
Vaughn scores his first playoff points ever. Jacques Vaughn's a player that Utah Jazz like a great deal too. He's the 3rd point guard behind Stockton and Howard Isley, and as Stockton moves along, he's 36 in his 14th year. They would like it to be Isley and Vaughn.
I think that if you're the Houston Rockets, you have to be somewhat encouraged by only being down about 13, mainly because they didn't play very well. This is a team, the Utah Jazz, you think they're going to come out and probably try to blow them out by 20 or so, but really they withstood a serious run by the Utah Jazz.
Foul on Hornacek. 1:31 to go. They're going to call it on Brian Russell. They could have called it on Hornacek too. Doesn't matter at this point in the game. So 3 days off. Now we talked about Houston, talked to Rudy T, and said, what are your adjustments after winning game 1? He says, well, we looked at the video, and like you did too, Reggie, and said we don't see any adjustments. We played so well. But they've really been tested here tonight. Their threes haven't been there. They went 2 for 2, and then at one point Houston was something like 1 out of 13 from beyond the arc.
Well, one of the things he said, we do have a plan B and C, but it wasn't necessary because it is not broke. You know, you're not supposed to try to fix it. The bottom line is John Stockton was much more aggressive tonight in this game. I really thought
right from the opening.
Yes, I thought got the Utah Jazz started offensively, and then, of course, Karl Malone really more active, more aggressive all over the floor.
Well, Fella Harrington very active down here. in his limited minutes off the bench toward the end of the ball game. It's on Charles Jones, the personal 10-point game.
One adjustment that Houston Rockets tried to make late in this game was they started to double team John Stockton coming off of those pick and rolls. Now earlier in the game they were playing it straight up. Stockton was burning them. I think that might be one adjustment you'll look at in their next meeting, doubling Stockton from the get-go.
Karl Malone with 26 tonight, 9 rebounds. Karl 7 of 16 from the floor, and 12 of 15, and now about to get 16. Compare that to 5 free throws in game number 1 for Karl Malone.
And that's just effort. That's knowing what you want to do and going out and making it happen, offensively and defensively. He started off with his tape, slapping the ball defensively, and then that carried over to his offense.
There have been 87 free throws total in this ball game tonight. Jazz by 12 with 1:08 remaining. Well, the Jazz fever had a chance to raise the temperature a little bit finally. We showed up here on Wednesday to get ready for this playoff series in Salt Lake City, and there were a crowd of people out Wednesday night. There wasn't even a practice here at the Delta Center. All that enthusiasm got dampened. It's now back in full force. What was the key in tonight's game in a nutshell?
In a nutshell, I'd say was the effort coming out from the start by Karl Malone and the Utah Jazz defensively. Their transition defense was excellent tonight, something that got them in big trouble in game 1.
Minute to play. Antoine Carr fouls old fellow Harrington.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that I thought Greg Foster did a great job on Olajuwon down in the low post, because he got so many touches, and most of part of the game Greg Foster was playing Olajuwon single coverage.
Olajuwon struggled all night long, and whenever the help came, the kick-out passes and rotation on the part of defensively. The defensive rotation for Utah was there. That also wasn't there in game number 1.
The effort all the way around was much better from a defensive standpoint, because they really took it on the chin physically in game 1.
Under a minute, 10-point game. Houston showing pride, not allowing the Utah Jazz, who had led by 21 at one point.
And people would say, hey, well, was the game really 10 points, or did they just make it up toward the end? I think this game is really a 10-point basketball game, and so that should be very encouraging for Houston fans.
Jacques Vaughn, nice ball fake, pass to Karl Malone. Jacques Vaughn showing you why he's a highly regarded rookie, and Malone has 29 now. Hornacek with the board, and the fans are just going to stand and cheer for the final 21 seconds. They're all on their feet. The ones that aren't on their feet are being prodded to their feet by the others. There was a story on the local news here about how Utah businesses who were planning for all those games about that triple. Jacques Vaughn making a plea for a little playing time, and how much the businesses could lose if Utah got wiped out, because they're planning on having every series all the way to the title here in Salt Lake City. Well, now this series is tied at 1 game apiece. Certainly the Utah Jazz aren't out of the woods yet as they go to Houston for a game on Wednesday. And let's go to D. Lynham with Karl. D.
Thank you, Bob. Karl, do you think this game was won in the beginning of the game with your guys' intensity and physical play at both ends of the floor?
I think so. I think that when we watched the film, I think they did whatever they wanted to do throughout the whole course of the ball game, starting off early. And I think early on tonight we came out and we was playing them physical. So whenever you do that, you have an opportunity to be in a ball game. It's kind of ironic when you play like that. Sometimes within the rules, it seemed like you get a lot of things going on the offense end. I think we were able to do that.
You guys countered tonight with adjustments, whether it was with intensity. Now it's their turn. What do you expect in game 3?
Well, it's going to be a great game. We realize that. We know now we're away from home and we got to go down there and win. And we realize that to bring it back here. But we're looking forward to the challenge. It's going to be tough, but that's what the playoffs are all about right now. And we'll go out and see what happens.
Thank you for taking the time. Congratulations. They're all tied up at a game apiece and headed to Houston. Bob, Reggie.